Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me and get connected okay. Sorry. So as I said, hope you can all hear me okay and I'll see us okay. Yeah, hi Mike. So as I said, I'm just a quick run through. User those that maybe not been on any of these before. Just keep repeating myself. It's just a short update, hopefully just 20 minutes, half an hour, just to run through the direct debit section of Club V1. So what I'll do with that, I'll start off. Maybe people might join as we go along, but as I said, I'll just put you back on my screen, and if I can just mute you all just now, but I will be able to basically come on at the end. We can do some questions or any queries you have. Okay. So basically, if I just go back to sharing my screen here, okay, hopefully you can all see my screen. Okay. Just check. So basically, the main aspect of today is to just go through the direct debit scheme and show you how it works within Club V1. So if I just quickly start off here, obviously the main thing I'm going to go through is how you identify your members as direct debit payers. They want to request direct debit, how to pay, how you can create different schemes, different options for payment schemes, how you set these schemes on the bills, and also how you deal with maybe mid-season people joining. So that's it. Some people join. Okay. What I'll also show you is how that when you use your direct debits in Club V1, how you do the processing monthly. So basically how you pull off a monthly direct debit extract, how you update the payments that you've received, and also how you maybe deal with unpaid direct debits. Okay. So if I just quickly go into Club V1, to my Club V1. Okay. So in my Club V1 here, I'll go to my page. Okay. First thing, let's look at how I said about members being set up as direct debit. So basically, when you go to your directory and look at someone's record, and when they wish to pay by direct debit, that's my payment, okay. In their record here, you'll see when you're putting in that information, yep, I go through all your sort of basic profile, your golf information, all the basic information you put in for the golf type of thing, okay. Done yet? Okay. What membership category in? You'll get to the direct debit part, and it will ask you to basically put in your password again. It's just because you're now getting into some financial information. And basically, this is where you enter the person's account number, sort code, mark the wish to pay by direct debit. You can mark if it's a new direct debit or a not, and you can put in your own direct debit reference if you wish. Some, obviously, I'll do a little bit of monthly processing, depending on who's processing your debits, whether or not you're external or not. Some companies require a reference, some companies don't. But basically, what you mainly want to have in here is their account number and sort code, because you'll need that obviously to take the direct debit off their account. Okay, so nothing more complicated than that. You put that in. When you've then put this paid by direct debit, enabled it, what you'll then find is in your filtering of your people, your records, putting all my filters off, you'll have a field basically, it's always in there called DD enabled. And what basically that does is split DD enabled yes or no. And if you just click yes, it'll show you your direct debit people, it'll show you non-direct debit people. Okay. You don't have to put any additional markers on it or anything through it, just as long as they have that direct debit tick to show them apply. So I'll leave my people now. Okay. Back off, go to it. Okay. So that's the main thing, is getting your people through it. Now, if you're not doing direct debits at present, obviously it's up to you. You have to give a direct debit mandate form to those that wish to take out a direct debit. Basically, that's just giving the members to fill it in and give you details to pick direct debit. Now, just obviously before I go into the schemes, this is, I will be running through mainly as direct debits on this. This can be used for those of you that maybe do standing orders. It will allow you to split bill, and will operate much the same way for you though you have standing orders. The only slight issue with standing orders is obviously you require the members to change their details, their payment amounts, rather than just being automatically changed by the direct debit schemes you set up. So just keep that in mind, but you can use it to give them a breakdown of what they should be paying. So if I move on to the next part of direct debits, is the direct debit schemes. So basically in your finance section, you've got your bill schemes. Okay. And this is basically your payment schemes. Okay. And basically what you have down here is the schemes that you have. So you'll see I've got a couple of examples here. I've left some blanks, so I'll show you how to do it. But if I've got 12 months, 10 months, you can add in here as many split schemes you wish to have. I'll be honest, most of the clubs would maybe I recommend very lowest I would go down to is 4 months to allow somebody to pay by direct debit. Anything less than that, I'd be asking the members to pay up full and then give them the option to go on to a 12-month or a 10-month scheme, whatever you wish, but whatever the club's annual scheme is. Also, slight recommendation, it's up to yourself. I'm not, a lot of clubs quite like to do a 10-month scheme. One thing, because it's very easy to divide out, but also it does give you 2 months where you're not having to deal with your monthly direct debits, so it might tie in with your annual account end or whatever. So 10 months is quite, a lot of clubs quite like using 10 month rather than going for the full 12. And it's just, as I said, mainly, not any technical reason, it's mainly just to give you a basic couple months gap on that to go through. Okay. Okay. Sorry. So when you've set your schemes, put your schemes in, the next part is your schemes is you just add the scheme you like. And as I said, any month you want, whatever through 9, whatever through. One thing on this, well, regarding charging admin fees for direct debit at this point, a surcharge percentage are fixed. Officially, you're not allowed to charge any additional thing on this because you are giving credit with that credit license. Okay, just like that's there. But a lot of clubs will argue that case that because they are doing direct debits, they will add a surcharge onto members, basically cover the admin fee. It's up to how you operate that. Okay, but if you want more detail on that, just give me a bell back and I can go over that. As I said, 10-month scheme, very popular, it's easy to break down. And basically what that means is I go to edit the breakdown. This is my scheme. Now, what this basically is doing is allowing me to set what I am taking off each month from the members. So normally 10 month, I'm going to take 10%. Now, as a percentage, so if you see if I scroll along here a little longer, you'll see I'm just taking 10% every month of the subscription. But what you'll see here is I've got an option I've set. I'm going to take 100% of the locker fee in the first month. I'm going to 100% of the SU fees. Now, a lot of clubs will take 100% of the Scottish Golf fees in the first month because simply the club have to pay that amount out to Scottish Golf within the year. So if somebody defaults, you are actually out that money. And a lot of clubs also will take 100% of the club levy if you have a club levy. Now, basically, if you have a club levy, those of you that have normally set up club levies will have basically when someone pays that, it goes straight onto their bar card and their members gold card technically. So basically, if you've got a £50 levy, if I pay in the first month the full £50, £50 will go on. If I split it over 10 months, sorry, it will only add on £5 every month to the card. So most clubs, if you have a levy, will take the levy in the first outing. Again, everything else you can set how you want to do it, club development, whatever you want to do. Okay, as I said, I've got a lot of other stuff in there that's probably didn't fit through. But basically, you set that scheme up and you can put the breakdown you want. A little unusual one, just if you did wish, but just to let you know, I have some, if I wanted to do like quarterly payments, I could put that at 0 and put the price up for each so higher months and say I'm going to take that. So I could do actually 4 quarterly payments if I want. So you'd actually have that option as well. Again, it's a little bit not work on setting it up, but club more for the admin side. That's a little bit more complicated, but certainly you can set that up if you like, and I can go over that if you want to do it. Next time when you've got your scheme set up is basically you manage the categories. Now, the reason you manage the categories is this is you controlling what membership categories you wish to allow to have the option to pay by direct debit. So basically, a lot of clubs won't allow juniors. I've got social ticked here, but they might not want social. If it's only something like a £20 social membership, you're not going to allow them to pay over 10 months. That you want paid up all up front. So you can basically control what categories can do this and what they can go through. Okay. So that's the next part of the scheme. Okay. So basically, you set up your schemes. You've got your schemes all set up, and you've got schemes there. Now, where schemes come into use is when you're doing your annual bills. Okay, and I did a little thing on annual bills last week, but just annual bills. What I normally would say to clubs is when you're doing your annual bills, final bills, bills, and you're doing your annual bills. Okay, and I'll do one here. As you know, I normally say to clubs when you're doing your annual bills at the field is do your club by category. Okay. Now I always suggest clubs do their bills by category. So as I said, select a category. Let's just we'll take them all off and do each category at a time. I'll do my full member. Okay. Apply that. Now, an additional thing I would also suggest if you're using direct debits is to do your direct debit bill separate from your non-direct debit bills. And I'll show you how that kicks in a little bit through. So I would add a field, put my direct debit enabled, and say, right, let's do my nose first and do my bill. Okay. So I'll just say I'm going to do my bills for my A1 full, non-DDs first. And I would continue that. And I've got basically full, non-DD. Okay. And let's just put the date. I'll put the date. Let's go February sometime or January 2. Okay. Okay. Continue. Copy that. Continue. And raise those bills. Now that raises my annual bills. As you know, it'll come up in the description, full non-DD. I'm then going to do my annual bills, and this time I'll do it for my DDs separate. Now, I know this is duplicating work slightly here, but I'll show you slightly in a minute how it helps you with your print, sending your bills out, and clarity to members. So if I do it again, the same thing, but this time going to be my DD pairs. Okay, I'll put the same date period, just to keep it all the same. Okay. So what you'll find is I've now got, obviously down here I'll have all my categories, I'll have my non-DD pairs and my full DD pairs, and I'll show you a little minute where this comes in a little bit. So basically what I want to then do is set the schemes. Now, the reason I want to set the schemes is if I go and print that bill run just now, let's go and print somebody's bill, let's print Carol's bill, you'll see I have an option to print schemes. Okay, because he's a DD pair, I want to show him the scheme. Yep. At this point, I haven't set a scheme against him, so it's showing him every scheme that's available because I haven't set a scheme against his bill. Okay. So what I want to do is go and set the scheme against that I'm offering these bills. And all I do is finance, go back to my bill schemes, okay, and set bill schemes. And what I can say is I'm looking for, obviously annual bills is a bit tidier, but you know how I picked the 1st of December. So I'm looking at the bills that I've raised for the 1st of January that were due the 31st of January. Okay, DD people only, and I'm going to take my first payment on, let's say my first payment I'm going to take in January. I'm going to take it on, I can do the last day of the month I want, but let me just do the 28th, just to say I can do the last day as well and automatically change. Okay, continue. Okay, I'll tell a bit because it'll load up all the bills. Just going to apply this to usual club got slow. What this will then do basically is those bills that I have raised, those annual bills I have raised for all the DD pairs. Yep, that's come through. That's the 5 people there. Okay, I'll pick up everybody. I have to do. I can this time I can actually do this to everybody that I've got DD around doing each category at a time. I could do all the DDs and just do all the categories at a time if I like. Continue. What it'll do is it'll give me all the bills that I have raised for my DD pairs. And what I want to say is all those people, I want to split their bills over 10 months. So I don't have to go through each individual and set what scheme. I can basically, when I do my annual bills, I can set those annual bills with the normal annual scheme that I'm going to set. If I go continue, proceed, confirm. What this then means, when I go back to my finance, my bills, and get my bill runs, when I'm sending out the bill runs, okay, sending out the bill runs, when I print the BDs now, print bill run, I'll do Carl's again and print his bill run. Yeah, and this time I show the scheme. What he will basically see is there's his bill, basically, and there's the scheme that I'm going to take off. So you say I'm going to basically 28th of the 1st, whatever through. So basically you see, nice simple 10-month split there of the subscription. I don't have anything else. That just splits the bill, gives them a breakdown. And this is where I mentioned that you can use it for standing orders in a way, because technically I could send this bill out to someone and say, can you please amend your standing order to these amounts? So that's where you can use it for standing orders. Obviously, as easy with direct debits, but just to set it through. Okay. So just say that's how you do the schemes set through. Yeah. So that's power. Now the reason why I say do DDD and non-DD separate is when I do my non-DD bill run and I'm printing that out, I don't want to give them schemes, so I don't want to click schemes because they don't need it because they're not splitting their bill. So this is why I tend to split full DD and non-DD into separate bill runs, just so that my non-DD ones I can say, yep, give them the scheme, but my DD ones I don't want to give that. Okay, as I said, it just means it looks untidy if you do the non-DD and I print, like for example, that bill run off, okay, and did print schemes on that. Again, like I showed you earlier on, here will get shown all the schemes that your club's got available. So it's better to do your non-DDs and still separate. Okay. So as I said, that's how it deals with your annual bills and through, and I'll show you a little bit how you do the extract from that. But one other problem thing that does come up with using direct debits is someone who's joining mid-season. Yeah. So if you've got someone joining mid-season, something. Or whatever. Obviously, what most of you will do is add a bills, create their bill. Yep. Now, what I would say if you're creating a bill, this has nothing to do with direct debit, but if you're creating a bill mid-season, I always say select a bill rather than annual bill, just because you identify it's a bill out with the season. I'm going to raise it today, and I'm going to do it due today. I show it through, and I continue. Okay. I'm going to add his price now. What you might find is I've added the category charges and that press get charged. Now, I'll explain this a little bit with direct debits, but if you are doing this, just while I get this opportunity, if you are doing a bill for someone mid-season, what a lot of clubs tend to do is they'll give them a pro rata rate on the subscription, and what they'll do is change the subscription. But what I would tend to do is you're better to add in their full rates and then add in a discount and actually show what you're giving them. So if I'm giving this guy £350 off, his bill will show that he's always subscription, but he will then see he's getting a subscription discount because he's joining mid-season. This isn't to do with direct debits, but it's just to explain to you it's a good code of practice when you're doing bills. It just means that when this person comes next year, gets his bill, and his subscriptions went to 800 and not what he got in this bill, he realizes that last year he got a subscription for some reason because he joined. Okay, so we had to tip that to pin. Okay. And when you raise a bill, you can raise a bill, finish. Okay, now don't bother with print schemes at this moment in time. This is bill. Now what you'll see is rather than doing the way I did the annual bills, and again, annual bills, I can go over anybody that needs help with that when it comes to it. But what I bill is this person's joined mid-season, but he has said he wants to pay by direct debit. So what I might then do is set the scheme that I'm going to put against his bill. And what I'm looking at here is if this person's joined mid-season, I might then say basically he can only pay over 4 months or 10 months. I can put as many different schemes in as I like. As I mentioned there, I would go like have 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7 down. Basically what I'm saying to this person, if my annual bill run is going to be done on 4 months time, so I'm going to start February, like I said, I'd basically say that I'm allowing him to split it over 4 months, but he will then after 4 months go on to the 12-month scheme. So I hope I'm explaining that clear enough. Basically, you can split the bill for as long as you like, and that's where I mentioned that I might say I'll allow them to split down to maybe 4 months to go to the end of the season. Anything less than that, they have to pay up full. But as I said, it's up to you how low you want to go down. But I would normally recommend 4 or 5 months maximum is the lowest you go to split it. But what it does mean, if I've joined, there's 9 months to go. You'll raise my bill for 9 months, pro rata bill for 9 months. You'll split it over the 9 months, and then I'll go into 12 months at the start of the season. So it's just to say it's quite easy way to do it. You can change it through. Okay. And then this one is quite good as well. You'll see a basic, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to take off the first month. I'm going to take an additional £20, which the SU fees I'm going to take off. So that's how you do that through. Okay. So as I said, that's how you set the schemes, how you set up all the schemes up. Now, moving on to the next part of this probably is the processing part of it. And if I go back to basically processing, main thing processing is you want to pull off a monthly extract. You then update the payments you have, and then you want to maybe deal with those unpaid direct debits. Okay. So we'll go back into Club V1. Okay. What you want to do then on a monthly basis is, when I find this, payments. Sorry, I should make better. bills. Yeah, so you'll see on your finance or bills, you've got a thing called direct debit extract. And simply what this is this allows you, ideally on a monthly basis, to pull off a direct debit extract. Okay. And this extract I'm going to do from the 1st of January one that I did to through. Basically. Okay. And what this is basically doing is I'm just pulling off what direct debits I are due to get. Okay, I've done my thing previously, so just this one through it. Okay. Okay. And what this does is when I continue this, is this gives me a file. Now, this file you download now, most clubs will tend to maybe use a third party like Go Cardless or something, or there's a couple other companies out there I can give it through, where basically you just send an Excel file on a monthly basis to them, basically like through. And if I go continue, just to show you what it does, basically is it gives me a file. Just open it here. Yeah. If I can bring this one across. Sorry. Don't know if you guys can see that file. It basically gives me an Excel file that I can send up and says basically the person's name, the amount, the sort code, the amount I'm asking for. Okay. Now all I simply do is that file is then sent up to the direct debit processing company. Now some of you can do it direct with the bank, so you maybe send it directly to your bank and they'll process it. It depends on different banks and different solutions that the club have. Again, I can give you some of the companies that do it for it if you don't do it already. For those of you that are doing it, you obviously know how this works. We're going through it. Okay. So basically that file is sent away. Excuse me. It's sent away to basically you get processed. And then what you will probably find is what most clubs will do is you will then get a report back from your direct debit processing saying basically this is paid, who's not paid. And what you simply then do is go to your payments and batches, and you want to add a batch payment. Okay. And what you can do is you can put it as if you put it as DDs only. Okay. What you'll see is you'll see the extract. Now there's that extract, that's that file that I just pulled off today, the 28th of October. That's the file that I sent to the bank. Okay, to ask. That's the list of the 2 direct debits I wanted. I'm just doing mine some basic ones here. So okay. And I could put the media as DD. Okay, if I want. Okay. What basically that then loads up and saying, John, this is the file that you sent off to your debit processing on the bank, and these are the direct debits you requested. But basically, when I get list back, it says that Mr. Burnt Island, his payment hasn't went through. I would then untick him, or whoever untick hasn't paid. Okay. So basically, it would show you all the ones that you have sent away and requested, and you just, if you wish, untick those that have bounced or haven't went processed through. Then all you simply do is go continue, confirm. That then just simply processes the payment. Okay, so as I said, if I go to Mr. Aberdeen, let's Aberdeen. You'll see here there's a payment processed by direct debit that basically £75 is going through. Okay, and also while I'm here as well, you can tick in if you're going to do direct debits as well, you can enable expected payments, and it will show you all the payments you're expecting to get as well. So you'll see all the direct debits I'm expecting from that person. I'll take the cancellations out. So you see I play my stuff come out. So it's just a handy thing to through, and you see the payments come through. Yeah, so there's I said through. So it's just a handy good stuff through. So updates and processes everybody through. Now, if someone has basically not about the direct debit has bounced, you can, if you want, basically run the direct debit extract over 2 months, and it'll show you that it's going to request 2 direct debits from somebody. But the best bit is obviously if you can then contact that person and get in the company. Now, if someone comes and pays that payment, so basically they'd missed the February payment but came in and paid it cash, if you just record their payment as a payment, it will actually record that, it will update that has been paid, put it in as a correct date, so you put it as a February payment towards a February direct debit. It then won't ask for the 2 direct debits in the following month. So it's just a handy way to go through it. So as I said, processing direct debits isn't much more complicated than that. As I said, rolling back to the direct debit standing order sort of option I said there as well. Standing orders basically, Obviously, the other thing is you're just going to have to sit with standing orders is maybe go through your bank statement and just update the standing orders you received or not received technically. So you just load up that extract and just basically leave everybody ticked that's came in and those that haven't come in. Problem with standing orders is obviously members pay slightly different and put things through. So as I said, you just basically pull that extract each month. Okay, as I said, and then obviously do the extract next month, do the direct extract, and this time we're going to move on to my February one. Okay, check it through. Okay, so as I said, it's just went through. I've got all my schemes up differently. So as I said, it'll load up all the ones you've got through. So it's a handy way to do it through. Okay, so obviously that's, as I said, you have any queries, direct debits, looking at a company go through, get back to me. I can personally run through this with you and help these set these things up, schemes and all that. Quite happy to set you on that side. Obviously, just as I said, I told you a quick update here of this. If I just go back to, obviously, the other thing which you've probably heard kicking about is those of you that have used is those of you that maybe used Fairway credit in the past. Now, you've probably seen some stuff about how do I pay later. Now, I'm not 100% full on how do I pay later. I do know how it operates. It's still operated by Anna and it's powered by Deco. Basically, just to explain, if you've saw the publicity about how do I pay later, what how do I pay later basically does is replaces the old Fairway credit as our partner for taking monthly payments. What this does basically is remove, if you wish, the option for you to process any monthly standing order direct debits. Basically, using How Do I Pay Later and Deco, they process all the direct debit payments on your behalf. They do it for you. They basically set up all the amounts, contacts with all the members to take their monthly payments, and basically you just get paid in full. So you don't deal with the month-to-month processing of direct debits. Yep. Basically what happens, the difference is that when the member goes into his app, if you're using Deco, he will have an option down here where it says How Do I Pay Later by Deco, basically. What he then does is the member then clicks he wishes to look interested in paying this by direct debit, over monthly basically. What he will do then is he will be directed to this Deco page. Now the Deco page will show him. Now, obviously, if they're going to use this, they will be charged an APR rate for it. So 70.8. I'm not sure what it works. Fairway credit is slightly different from us. The way they declare it comes out easy, but basically it declares the rate on it. What they then do, if they wish to go ahead, you can set up your different schemes, and it will show them basically what they've got, basically. And what it says basically is what they'll pay. Okay, so it says to them if they pay over 6 months, 12 months, whatever, what they're going to pay. What they then simply do is the member then, without contacting yourself, whatever, fills in all these details, and this is just to show you. He will then go to Navuna, which is the finance partner. They basically process online, it's all done online, the normal detailed decisions through, okay, application, and they get an application decision, say they've been approved. What it'll basically say at the very end of it will say, this is the cost. If you get deposit amount, you can take deposits off, your interest rate you've got, over through, it'll come up and show them what they're going to be payable. So it's handy, so that's just to go through it. Okay. So as I said, that the Deco part goes through, and then when they're completed, they'll go through the full details. It'll give them basically as a loan they're taking out. It'll then say to them how they pay later, payment completed. Now that's the member's journey. Okay. What happens, if I come out on screen basically to show you what happens in Club V1 is at your end is basically what happens then is when the member gets this part option switched on, he basically fills it in, clicks he wants to pay by Deco. At your end, the member will see all this stuff, comes up here exactly showing him what he's going to pay, how much it's going to cost him, gives him a breakdown of how much his interest is going to be. So he said, my example here, it's an extra £95 or something a year. But from your end, what happens is when it's completed, it will then come up on your your Club V1 system will send back to your thing saying that that payment has been received by Deco or has been declined. Okay. Once it's completed, basically it will also then come into your merchant payments report. Now, those of you that use Clear Accept will know that in the merchant payment report, there is basically a report of what's getting paid online. And when using Deco or How Do I Pay Later, there's an additional filter where you can actually filter by Deco and include Deco payments. It just shows you payments. And what it also does is update the member's record that he has paid it by Deco. What happens is you get paid basically the full amount, basically of the account, the amount to clear the member's account. You don't really have to do anything else with it. One of the reasons why we've sort of moved slightly away from Fairway Credit, just so you know, and I'll be honest, Deco is a little bit higher its interest rate for what I gather, is that with Fairway Credit, if the member defaulted on their payments, Fairway Credit would come back and ask you for the finance back on that, the money back that they paid you. So if they'd put three members on Fairway Credit who default their payments, Fairway Credit would come back to you and ask for that membership fees, subscription fees back. Deco don't, they take the hit basically. They basically, if a member defaults, they take the hit on the loss of that. And that's maybe why they're slightly more expensive to get through, but just to say that's why they're taking a little bit more risk on it. So it's just a thing you know that through. Okay. What was that? It was. Okay. So as I said, I know it's just a quick overview of Club V1 of the thing through. There is a lot more to it. On direct debits, and as I said, if any of you do wish me to just arrange that one-to-one call and go over direct debits and setting them up, just get back to me and I can go over that with you. Either just drop me a little email and we can sort some online time for that as well. Obviously, you can also phone the number if you need help with direct debits. And as I said, I don't know if you know, but also you will get a recording of this everybody who registers get a recording of this. But just to let you know, I've put some of the things onto a sort of YouTube channel. If you go to John Cardinal Club V1 Small Bites, and then here you'll see a lot of the recordings of a lot of the webinars and things we've done in the past. I just done certain aspects of it. And if you want me to do one on a specific item, just let me know. Okay. So does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I've got a wee question.
Yep.
That historically the club I'm working for has 3 payment dates: the 17th, the 28th, and the 1st. How would that work for? Do I have to do 3 separate runs?
Yeah,
I'll have to do 3 separate runs at the moment, but for setting it up for your the direct debit thing, how would that go about?
Yeah, so there's two ways you can to do it. See how when I set the scheme for the payment date, and I set when the payment date was. So I go to, can you still see my screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, when I went to payment scheme and I set those bill schemes. Yep.
And
it basically asked me what to do. So that's going to. I can set the scheme of what month that's going to go off. I could have a filter on it. The way I've got one club who do that quite similar to you. What they do is it 3 separate payment dates in the 1 month for different categories or different things through.
Yeah. 3 separate payment dates.
What they do is they actually have a field in, and if I go back to, I don't know if you know about the fields that you can use, the field and markers in Club V1.
No, I've not seen this.
Okay. So what they do is if I go back to my settings, in club detail settings, there's a thing called field and markers. Yeah. And they would add a field here. Yeah. And the field they would put in is DD payment date. I'm assuming it's different dates in the 1 month, like the 17th, 21st or something.
No, it's it's the 1st, the 17th, and the 28th.
Yeah. So if I put the payment date in, so DD payment date, and I put it in as a date, or I could put it actually, it might be just as a number. Okay. Save. What I would then do if I go to my record, okay. Yep. If I got my record, where you can use these details, my details. If I edit my details, I then have within my additional information a payment date here, and I say you're going to pay in the 1st.
Right.
So what I could do then is see people's records.
Mm-hmm.
I could say these people are paying the 1st. I could put it as a date if I like, but I just tend to put it as they pay in the 1st, they pay in the 10th, they pay in the 17th. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then when I'm setting the bill schemes, I can say, right, apply the bill scheme to come off and put the date as the 1st for all those that are marked to the 1st. apply the scheme, apply it to all those at the 17th, and apply it to 21st for all those at 21st. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So then I put so on the marker, it would be the DD payment date. I would have to go in and put the 1st, the 17th, or the 28th on there.
Yeah. So yeah. That would make it. And then, as you said, when you go and set the scheme, when I'm going to finance scheme, set payment schemes, I could set the schemes. I could do them the same at a time, but it'd be quite easy to do it. Do you know what I mean? Because I can do stuff on it.
Right, can I then change the payment date there? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And see,
I will have a go.
Well, you see here, if I go back, as I was just saying, if I go back there, so say I've got this as the payment date, the 1st. Yeah. So this is people want to come off the 1st of January, continue. I only want to set this for those that are, so when it comes up with bills, I can actually add the field and say, see I've got a thing here where it said, what do we call it? Sorry, DD payment date, yeah.
Yeah.
So I can just say, show me those at the 1, just the 1st.
Right, okay.
Yep, that would do it for that one. And
right.
I can do once I've done me, continue. I have no bills, so I wouldn't do it, but continue. I can then do the exact same thing, but do it for the 17th and just change the date.
Right, okay. That's fine. Thank you.
Have a go at it. If you have a problem, give me a bell, but that's how I would do it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Mary, no problem.
Yep, thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, all right. No. As I said, it's just a short overview of direct debits. They can be quite a lot involved in it and setting things through, but if you've got any queries on it, just certainly get back to me and we can go over it further. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, bye.